welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters. And this afternoon, we'll be featuring highlights of the...
And he got in bad trouble there. He lost his stirrups.
Whoa. Well, problems in the triple combination.
The world's greatest horse rider combinations have come to Spruce Meadows in the foothills of the Canadian Rockies in search of show jumping's ultimate prize. Who will rise to the challenge and claim show jumping's most coveted Grand Prix title? It's the CP International, presented by Rolex, part of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping.
Are you ready? I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
Each autumn, for the last 39 years, the world's best horses and riders have focused their attention on the Spruce Meadows Masters and the challenges and rewards it offers on the final day. Today, that tradition continues from the foothills of the Canadian Rockies as Rolex presents the $1.5 million CP International, part of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. Hello and welcome to the Spruce Meadows Masters. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by John Garner. Super Bowl Sunday in international show jumping. It doesn't get any better than this, does it, John?
You're darn right there, pal. It does not get any better, and we are in for an absolute belter of a day. I can feel it. The crowd is pouring in through the gates here at Spruce Meadows. The skies have blued up, the sun is out, and actually I think the conditions are about as perfect as you could get. It's sort of in the mid-teens in Celsius. There's a slight breeze. It's going to be nice for the horses, and the ground is spectacular.
Before we get to the sport, let's get to the conditions and what this field of dreams has seen in the last week.
Well, I'll tell you, Ian, I mean, think about it. About, 20 meters directly to my right 3 days ago, I was skiing down this bank. So, you know, the incredible snow that fell in all of Calgary. Power was out throughout the whole city. Trees have been absolutely decimated. And I would probably say that nowhere was harder hit than Spruce Meadows. The fact that any jumping has gone on this week is a testament to the spirit and cooperation that the Spruce Meadows team have been able to put forward. And it's remarkable, quite frankly.
And today we'll see the biggest jumping in the world. Walk us through the specs of the CP International.
2-round Grand Prix, the classic event. You and I both love these. Basically, all horse rider combinations will start off around the first track, designed as always by Leopoldo Palacios. The top 12 or all clear rounds will come back for a second course. If there's still a tie for first place after the first round, we will have a jump off. Ian, I'm telling you this, I've heard challenging, I've heard daunting, and I've heard beast. Those are the words I've heard about this first round today.
Some things never change. One thing that has changed, the prize money. $1.5 million, and now part of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. Over the last year, this has been something brought into the sport that has taken it to the next level. And today we have 3 winners of the Rolex Grand Slam events that have been held to date. Peter DeVos looking to defend his title here. Of course, the great Olympic champion Steve Gerdat. And what about Christian Allman?
What about Christian Allman? I mean, talk about the potential payday for Mr. Allman if he can pull off the win today. Back-to-back Grand Slam, Rolex Grand Slam event wins. I mean, you're going to have to tell me the money because I might just faint. You know, I think Peter DeVos, to be fair, I think he's a little bit tough. He doesn't have Candy here. Candy got hurt a couple of months ago. She's not quite right, so he opted to bring a different horse. Steve Gerdat, of course, does not have Nino de Buissonnet, his Olympic mount, but he does have NASA, and we all know NASA has jumped incredibly well on this course. But Christian Allman and Codex One, you have to think they're the ones to beat. 3
very special athletes. They all enjoyed very special moments over the last year in the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping.
It was for me an indescribable experience to win here, and I was already very excited that I could compete here. I was even more nervous at that time after I rode to watch the others than when I had to ride myself. I was already very happy with this result, but then when you're at that moment so close, you really want to win. So I didn't even watch because I was so scared. I was the only clear, so everything, the pressure fell off and explosion.
Belgium for the second year in a row, Peter de Vos.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing for me. Always Geneva is my home show, and I feel very supported by all the fans there. Every new one comes even bigger, and last year was the first time that Geneva was a member of the Rolex Grand Slam. So to be the first winner there with all this crowd behind, it was an amazing feeling that for sure stays forever somewhere in memories.
That was like a dream came true. Codex was in great shape and everything went like it should be, also on the jump off, and we had a great day. It's really nice to ride there, and if it works out like that, it's brilliant.
In Rolex Grand Prix, großen Preis von Aachen.
This is something special, absolutely. The chance to win it's really small. I think every of the 48 riders here on this show want to win, and they have a chance to win it.
You have to be positive and motivated, so I think we have good expectations, and at the end we know in our sport that winning and losing is very close by, and everything can happen.
Well, I'm very motivated. I know it's going to be very hard. I'm going to try again my best. Domer Naza was already 2 times second in that Grand Prix, so I hope we can jump and double clear and then see what happens. But again, there are so many strong riders and strong horses here. I know it's going to be a very tough day, but I'm ready for the fight, and I hope the best.
It's a quite new horse for me, and I really don't know how he's going to react on this height, because it's for me and for him the first time we're jumping on this height together. And we have to see, but it was the same story with Candy last year. I really didn't expect to win here, so you never know what can happen. Huh?
We will have great sport for sure, but if this is going to happen, it would be something unbelievable.
3 athletes that have experienced something in this sport none other has. And you know, a year ago, none of us thought of Peter de Vos having a chance on this very day.
Well, remember, I mean, he almost broke a leg on the first day, so lucky to get in the ring, but he was absolutely spot on for a win last year. Hard to bet against Christian Ahlmann the way him and Codex One have been performing recently. But I tell you, the one to watch out for in my book, Ian, Kent Farrington and Voyer. They have been so close. Let's not forget, we keep talking about Christian Ahlmann winning the Grand Prix in Aachen. Who was second? Kent Farrington and Voyer. Beat him by time by almost 4 seconds, but had a rail. Watch out.
Kent Farrington, also winner of the Atco Power Queen Elizabeth II Cup earlier this year with Voyer. I like another American myself. Beezy Madden has not tasted victory at Spruce Meadows this year. She's hungry, she's in great form, and she is riding Simon. The CP International presented by Rolex when we return. First round action of the CP International presented by Rolex, and it has lived up to pre-event expectations. Clear rounds, a rare commodity. And we know one thing, this man will not defend the title, Peter de Vos.
Oh, a tough day for Peter and Delano. I think his concerns that he talked about off the top with Delano
were underlined, just a little bit of inexperience. The horse can certainly jump the jumps, a little bit loose with the front end there at the black and white combination. But I tell you what, Ian, Leopoldo Palacios has done it again in my book. Great course.
Here was the first of the clears, the young American star Reed Kessler returning to Spruce Meadows, and boy, does she look to be in championship form with her Olympic mount Silana.
Well, we're going to talk about it again later on, but you know, only 2 years removed from coming second in the Grand Prix to Belgium's Olivier Philippart's on Silana, so she knows what this day is all about.
Well, we spoke about the Swiss, and we led off, of course, with Olympic champion Steve Gerdat, but the Swiss have come to play today. Alain Jouffer leading things off with a clear round for the red and white.
Well, this combination have been lights out, Ian. One time fold in each of their rounds during the Nations Cup. A clear round today. They don't seem phased by the situation at hand, and neither is Euro Morel and Quartz Rouge. A lovely round from this partnership.
Beautiful stallion, power jumper onto the second round. And what a difference a day makes for Admirable. Wouldn't look at the wall in the BMO Nations Cup, and then carries Marie Ether to a clear round.
Yeah, but once he got over his concern of Mount Rushmore, he jumped very well. Remember, he didn't have a rail down in the Nations Cup. So full of promise, and a very strong performance from Marie as a first-time performer in the international ring.
Great day for the Swiss so far. It has been a long time since Ireland has tasted victory on the final day of the Masters. Will it be the year for Golden Hawk and Shane Breen? Lovely little stallion.
A bit of a new ride for Shane, another young horse. He's developing along, much like his great horse Balloon. Similar model, similar type. They all go the same, but a spectacular round from Shane Breen and Golden Hawk, and we will see them in round two.
The top 12 earning tickets to the second round of the CP International presented by Rolex. There's a look at the 5 clears and those that are still in play, beginning with Robert Whitaker, just the one-time fault with Catwalk. Great international representation in the top 12 slots. That is sure to change as we get to the heart of the order of the 48 horse rider combinations that have earned a ticket to start. With $1.5 million at stake, 550 meters of first round course awaits in the international ring, capacity crowd, spectacular conditions as we continue with the final day of the Spruce Meadows Masters. Thus far, a great weekend for Team Canada, having won the BMO Nations Cup, now looking to continue that. It was their first Nations Cup win in this event since 2006, and they have a very, very strong team jumping here at the Masters tournament. And leading things off for Team Canada will be 2012 Olympian Tiffany Foster with her new mount Triple X. Of course, Ben Maher rode this beautiful model to Team Gold at the London Games, and as of this year, a mount for Team Canada. Tiffany Foster riding Triple X.
Well, she had a very solid effort in the Nations Cup. One time fault in the first round. For my money, Ian, they just haven't quite got those great results you're looking for from a top-level partnership. There's no question Tiffany has all the skills, and clearly Triple X has all the talent to produce it. But you've got to be on the same page, and you've got to get the consistency.
And at some stage, the patience of the courtship has to end and the results have to be delivered.
She's in the water,
and just a little bit of a pause in the air, and he caught the tape for 4 faults.
A little weak through the turn and caused her to have to add a little bit going to the water jump, so never got the forward impulsion. You must hit the base of that jump going forward with power. Now, she's got to get on the clock. She can still make that top 12 with 4 faults as long as she's quick enough. 81 seconds and change. I think she's going to be looking to aim for.
This first round time, oh so important in breaking up the logjam with faults, and it carries forward for your final result as Tiffany Foster takes on the French Impressionist jump, newly acquired from the World Equestrian Games in Normandy.
Hard to stay on the focus when you're mindful of the clock. You know you still got to leave all these jumps up.
That's a big oxer down the final line, and a costly oxer. Time not a problem. 2 rails will deal her out of the equation today.
Let's have a look. See, she's checking around the corner there. She doesn't hit forward. There's a no doubter there for the water jump official. Maybe I think Triple X just took off a little bit late there.
So from the gold medal podium in the Nations Cup earlier in the week to not advancing to round 2, that is the story for Tiffany Foster. Back-to-back Canadians here at Spruce Meadows. Jan Kandel next to go on Showgirl. Members of Team Canada at the World Equestrian Games in Normandy earlier this year, and this guy really gets the most out of this chestnut mare, Showgirl. New mount for him in 2014, former mount of Jonathan Aslan, Canadian Olympian. 14-year-old Showgirl with Jan Kandel underway.
It's been a very good match. You mentioned it, Ian. Jan really does ride her very well. She's a bit of a funny mare, a little bit funny in the bridle, as quite frankly a lot of French horses seem to be. She has a bit of a unique style. She's very tidy, but so powerful with her back end. At times almost seems like she's over-rotating. Sometimes lands in a bit of a heap.
Despite being at the World Equestrian Games, this will be the biggest track these two have ever faced, as you said, having walked it, and you see that oxer down the east side. Wow.
Total miscommunication there. Ian Showgirl thought about leaving on one stride, and a second rail down.
So those really are back-to-back rails that are related to each other. Big problems coming out of the combination, and then down comes the following obstacle on course. The way Team Canada had scripted it today thus far, as Jan Kandel finishes up just under the time allowed, and he had problems on course, needless to say, at obstacle 9C.
Well, look to me, Ian, as we come down this line, she jumped the triple bar. Oh, okay, squirmed a little bit. And then as she came in, took the one stride, you'll see here, he goes for 2. She almost lifts off. And it looked like Jan had softened a little bit to say go chase the jump, and maybe she thought he meant come off the ground, but happens so quickly.
Connor Swale has won at Spruce Meadows this season on a number of occasions. Amazingly, not with Lansdowne. Horse was sidelined with a minor injury, nonetheless a problem with a bit of a back abscess earlier this season. Now returning with this magnificent horse. 11-year-old Dutch warm blood stallion, but have they had enough time together this year to take on something like this? This is big stuff.
Such a valid point, Ian, as the partnership between horse and rider obviously is critical. I don't have to tell anybody that. And you'd think with all that Connor and Lansdowne have gone through the last couple of years, they'd be able to pick up right where they left off, but often that is not the case. The horses can get a little bit rusty. You as a rider can get a little bit off with that particular horse.
Well, and of course, Connor having fought back from the ruptured Achilles tendon earlier this season, and then this is dealt to him. So he's had a tough year as the charismatic Irishman, and he's having a tough time there in the combination.
That's one of those areas. It's a little bit unsettled coming off the water jump, getting a little bit rattled going in to the combination.
Big triple bar, now the triple combination.
Test after test after test, Leopoldo Palacios has set out. And you're seeing rails here and there and everywhere. But that's what you expect for $1.5 million. You've to earn it. Nice turn inside, that'll save him some valuable time.
Ooh, just a light touch at the Sydney Lanterns, but not enough lift to get over that red vertical with the white ground line. So another 8-fault performance, showing just how tough it is and where you can't let up at all.
Well, his time allowed, Ian, was very good. His running time of 78 seconds. But unfortunately, 8 faults will deal him out of the equation. And I see both rails coming down there, front legs with both.
That white ground line on that skinny red vertical, I am sure, will cause problems for more than just Connorswell and Lansdowne as we move through the CP International and introduce from the United States Leslie Howard next to go with Tic Tac. Leslie Howard, winner of a couple of Olympic medals, a World Cup final, winner of more than $1 million in this ring, including her victory in 1997 in this event with the Dutch gelding Sublieft. She is with Tic Tac, her new international mount, who she maintains is as good or better a horse than she has ever ridden. The 11-year-old stallion, that is saying something.
Well, it really is. She's ridden some fantastic horses. But as a horsewoman, can get everything out of the animal. How quickly this partnership has developed. Just a year ago at the Summer Tour, it was newly acquired and a horse for the future. Well, the future came very quickly for Leslie. Still a little bit inexperienced at this level, but so far so good. Had a very good day in Nations Cup for Robert Ridland and the United States of America team.
Now this triple bar to the triple combination line on the east side of the stadium. So far so good for Howard.
Whoa, jumped in big.
Oh,
another one! My goodness!
A little bit too enthusiastic was the 11-year-old stallion, and that causes disaster. A stunned Leslie Howard sitting in the international ring. Tic Tac makes his way to the south end of the stadium and up the bank. And that was a nasty fall for the veteran. Although the thumbs up, I'm sure that had to hurt.
Ian, you know what? We saw it a little bit with Jan Kendall and Shogol. Remember how we talked that it looked like he was... The mare thought about picking off early, but Tic Tac went and did it. You don't see it so often. When it does happen, it can be nasty. Horse miscommunicated, misjudged the line, the distance. Have a look here. Jumps in nicely, but Tic Tac really arcs over B. And there was no doubt in his mind what he was doing. No chance.
He's a gamer, but there it proved disastrous as he just exploded out of the triple combination. Leslie Howard and her husband Peter taking the long walk out of the stadium. And there is Tic Tac. None seem the worse for wear, although I'm sure Leslie will be a little bit sore tomorrow. She spanked the international ring rather hard. Listen to the crowd here, applauding both Leslie's resilience and the next entry into the stadium. We have not seen much movement on this leaderboard in a while. The course is really showing its teeth as Eric Lamaze gets ready to try and join the top 12 with Zigali. Now Eric has a couple of new horses in his stable, and this is the one that seems to be taking the top dog position over Power Play. Zigali, a new acquisition for Eric this year, who he competed with at Aachen. And now at the Spruce Meadows Masters, a 10-year-old ridden by Eric Lamaze of Canada, of course, former winner of this with the great Hickstead.
We had a run of clear rounds earlier in the day, but we've been a little bereft recently. Been some very tough rounds. Nicely up over the Beijing wall for Eric and Zigali. Another one, just not quite getting the run to the water that you'd like, but he coped with it very well. Nicely out over the CP Oxer. And through the first double.
Settled in nicely into the international ring here. Hush amongst the crowd. They would love dearly to see the Maple Leaf move forward into round number 2. So far that has not occurred.
See what Eric and Zigali do here. No problems at all. Well ridden. No doubt there from the partnership. Really starting now to come towards the back end, up over the painter's hand, the paint brushes. It's a lovely looking jump, that one, Ian.
The rail there, nicely over the vertical. We're into the home stretch for Lamaze and Zagali. Will they advance? They certainly help the cause. A clear, quick round. 81.70 to carry the Maple Leaf forward for Canada. Two-time champion Eric Lamaze, this time with Zagali.
Well, he looks thrilled, doesn't he? As he should be. Zagali gave him a real performance here. Great ride from Eric Lamaze.
He, as well as anyone, knows that he has earned his ticket to an even tougher round, but seems confident in the big black gelding. There's another great veteran, BZ Madden with Simon. Both have won this event before, neither as a team.
Yeah.
It was Simon with the great Jeroen Dubbeldam and BZ Madden with the great Judgment. Now they are together, and BZ Madden is debuting at Spruce Meadows for the season after that horrific spill that fractured her collarbone earlier this year. She hasn't won yet here this year, and that's unheard of since about 1987.
Well, it's funny, and you're saying that during our pre-game show there, I had to stop and think a minute, and it's like, my goodness, you know, you're absolutely right. No, not that I ever doubt you, of course, but yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since BZ Madden has gone through a season at Spruce Meadows without leading a victory ride, but this would be the day to change that.
Number 2 all-time in Spruce Meadows' career earnings, behind Eric Lamaze, who we just saw jump clear with Zagali. And I have every confidence that this will be a quick round. Let's see if it'll be a clear round. She is such a fast rider.
Well, Simon is an aggressive horse by nature. Like BZ was saying when she first started riding him, that was something they both had to learn to deal with. Not that BZ's shy about attacking the course, but such a different way of going from having your own Dubbeldam in the saddle to BZ's way. Really got to keep him back here. Excellent ride. And just use Simon's power to explode out over C.
They have had great results together, including a Rolex World Cup Championship in 2013. And of course here at Spruce Meadows, as they've got to know each other through their few seasons together.
Well, and just yesterday, of course, the double clear round in the BMO Nations Cup, and another clear round today.
Sub 80 seconds for BZ Madden and Simon. So they earn a ticket to the second round of the CP International.
Watch out, Ian. It's starting to get very exciting. Big guns are making their way into round 2. And you can't say enough how important that experience is coming into that second course.
Quentin Judge gets ready for the red, white, and blue. Double H Copin is the beautiful bay stallion he is on course with right now. Quentin Judge, having crossed an impressive threshold into the upper echelons of this sport over the last couple of seasons, including a couple of very impressive victories here this summer. And he will need to be impressive. Looks like BZ's been a little slow getting out of the ring here. Not something we're used to seeing, almost getting in the way of Quentin Judge there. A bit of a surprise.
Well, Quentin's gotten very comfortable in the international ring. Rail coming down. Just didn't quite get Copin back together after the water. A little bit flat there. Cut down on the back rail. Now, much like we've said before, you got to press on now. You got to chase that clock. You got to be in the low 80 seconds with 4 faults, I think, if you're going to have any chance.
I would agree with that. There are so many power combinations still to come as well in this first round of competition.
Well, Rich Feller's in. He's sitting in that 12th spot with 82 and change with 4 faults. So he's got to be quicker than that and not have another rail.
Final auxer awaits.
Oh, he come down.
And it did not get covered by Double H Copin. And with that, 8 jumping faults, and the season at Spruce Meadows ends for Quentin Judge.
He just stood off a little bit too far, and Copin ticked it with his back legs. And then Quentin, I think, chasing the clock. Risked the last fence. Unfortunately, he came down. He had got the time, but one too many rails at this stage.
As the horsepower continues to pour through the clock tower, 2012 champions from Belgium next to go. The young star Olivier Philipparts with Cabrio, and this horse, like this rider, getting better with age.
Well,
which is saying something.
Yeah, they're a great partnership, and certainly a coming out party for them 2 years ago here on this day. And they haven't wilted under that pressure.
They have become mainstays of the Belgium team. And, you know, think about it, he was a teenager when he won this event.
Incredible. I mean, talk about the experience, but it's required at this level. But these younger riders, Ian, now they're getting so much experience early on. And fearless competitors. Wouldn't be the easiest horse in the world to ride, Cabrio. He's a little feisty.
They have had a long-term partnership. Olivier Philipparts first started riding this beautiful gray horse as a young rider, by definition, under 21.
Great ride. Ooh, hefty wrap there on the Liverpool. And lost his back end there a little bit, trying to save some time through that turn.
A little bit unorganized, I would say.
He's getting a little bit flustered, I think. Now, stay smooth to the last one.
Well, it was a function over form clear round, but that doesn't matter. It's clear, and they move on. Will they challenge to win a second CP International? Wouldn't that be a story, John Garner? Young Olivier Philipparts from Belgium.
Well, he won't be daunted by round 2 this time, Ian. I mean, chatting to him about his success a couple of years ago, he was so nervous going into round 2, but now he'll have an idea of what he's to face.
Michael Whitaker knows what it takes to win this event. He's done it on 2 occasions before, not with this horse. Ellie, the great Monsanta, of course, carried him to victory. First time in his career, followed by the great Everest two-step. Michael Whitaker carrying on the tradition of the Whitaker clan here at Spruce Meadows.
Monsanta, one of those real useful types, would win you any kind of competition. I mean, quite frankly, for me, the victory on two-step was nothing short of remarkable. He's really going to have to work hard today with Ellie. It's a step up in class for her. But a real useful type of horse. Just lacking, I think, a little bit of top-end quality. Amai getting towards the end of his career. Vikings a little bit hit and miss on his day. He's brilliant. He does have 2 young stallions coming along. Oh my goodness!
Tough rub coming into the triple. Sorts it all out.
What
the
a
master.
ride. And that was reminiscent of two-step. She double dipped down there, did Ellie at C.
Oh,
paid the price. And Michael going around there. He's not going to be challenging with the time allowed either.
The 10-year-old mare just with the 1 rail on course, but the time will be a bit of a problem as it tacks on 1 time fault, as you see there. And with that, they have 5 faults and will not be eligible to advance.
He got right underneath the Liverpool there. Ended up the course very well, but just looked like Michael got off stride going to the triple combination.
There will be no second round today for Michael Whitaker. Such was not the case in 1995 with the great two-step, when Michael Whitaker provided us all with a memorable Rolex moment in time.
The two-step, he was a really good horse. He had a really good year that year. He won 4 or 5 good Grand Prix that year, so it was, it was on real form. I had a real chance. I had a few sort of scary moments in the previous 2 rounds because we won Oxford and he put his back legs in it both ways. He put his back legs in and took them out again. But it was a real fighter. The horse was a fighter, and that's what you need to win something like that. When you're last to go, you can see you've got nothing to lose. At that point, you know exactly what you've got to do, and it's a big advantage. I kept getting a few whistles, so I turned pretty tight to that last double, and that's where I had a tap going in, and then just got through the finish as fast as I could. It looked like, thankfully, I won. To win a class like that, you need it. Somewhere you're going to need a bit of luck, So I've had plenty of bad luck, a bit of good luck. I don't mind.
For a limited international champion from the United Kingdom, Michael Whitaker.
Welcome back to the Spruce Meadows Masters final day, the $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex, the world's best, looking to advance in the top 12 to round number 2. And there you see those bottom 4 positions right now are carrying 4 faults with a limited number that can change that, but man, is it quality still to come.
No kidding.
As we get to the latter stages of the starting list, how about 2-time Olympic gold medalist McLean Ward to start things off here? Now, McLean Ward is riding Double H Carlos, part of his great 1-2 punch here at Spruce Meadows, but not the great Sapphire, who he won this event with in 2009 and who sadly passed away in the last year. That does not dilute the chances of this man, however, one of the best in the sport.
You got that right, Ian. He comes in to fight every single time in the ring. And he's not one for going into battle unarmed. However, another one with a foot at the water. It's like they're coming around that corner and not getting on the stride and on the pace early enough.
That could be a very expensive toe in the tub for McLean Ward if he happens to leave the rest of the rails up. Plenty of jumping left still, triple bar into the triple combination. Big rub there too.
Oh, it looked like it bounced a little bit. He's had a couple of taps here or there. McLean will be making adjustments as he goes round now, feeling what Carlos is giving to him. Expect to see him. Oh, he's galloping around the outside there. That surprises me. I thought he might drop inside.
He knows how important time is and how things can change if you advance to the second round.
He's got to press on.
Over the final fence, all the rails up, a foot at the tape, 82.80 seconds.
He's not quick enough, Ian.
No. He will be looking on when we advance to round number 2 here. Astonishing. Tough break for McLean Ward. This is the biggest Grand Prix in the world, and there is added pressure on this man. Christian Allman with the great Codex 1. Winners earlier this year in the Rolex Grand Prix of Aachen, Germany, and by virtue of that win, in play today for a possible €500,000 bonus.
Unbelievable.
But one step at a time for the great veteran from Germany. No stranger to the winner's circle here at Spruce Meadows or around the world. The test commences.
We saw in the piece earlier, he's talking about how Codex felt. Everything came together on the day. He looked awfully sharp earlier in the week. How he bottles him up and Codex exploded out over the water jump.
Immensely powerful combination and experienced.
Early returns looking promising. Oh my God, the triple bar. Wow. Of all the jumps on course.
When he was walking this course, I don't expect he felt the triple bar would be that costly.
Well, it starts to happen out there, Ian. You see issues happening at the triple combination, and especially with the distance. So that report will have got back, and then easy to start making adjustments to the previous fence. My goodness me. Look at his time.
No victory today for Christian Allman. The rail at the triple bar comes down, and with it and the time, he will not advance to round number 2. Top 12 only from the 48 that have qualified to start today. Christian Allman's day is done.
Wow.
Germany has been in a bit of a drought here at Spruce Meadows on the final day in the CP International. No one has jumped to victory for Germany since the great Otto Becker with Cento back in 2003. Will the reigning World Cup champion Daniel Deusser get it done with first class? This big, rangy chestnut who's impressed us with his athleticism.
Yeah, he really has.
He doesn't look like he'd be as careful or as flexible as he is, but clearly in the hands of Daniel Deusser, a top combination with first class. Just 9 years of age.
Of course, Daniel, the reigning World Cup final champion with the great Cornet de Meur. You'd be hard pressed to find two horses that go that much different than these two.
Yeah.
He is a giant. He's not looking at the water jump even. Coming around the corner, it looked like he spotted something on the left-hand side, but great job by Daniel. He got him focused back in. Nice ride there through the plank. Just heard him use his voice.
Let's see how careful he is on this line. Ooh, a little bit of a twist at the triple bar. Seems to be straightening out.
Lovely. Nicely ridden through there. A little bit loose with his front legs. He's got him back organized. Daniel taking the shorter option.
Tight corner to fit that big chestnut horse through. Just a couple of fences left now. This very tricky vertical.
Oh, it is so tight in there, Ian, for that big fella.
And if he snuck a peek at that white ground line, it might have broke his concentration. Whatever, 4 faults, and he will not advance to the second round. Germany's drought continues.
Oh, I think he just ran out of room coming to the skinny. I think half of that was what Daniel's plan, to take the inside cut around to the Sydney lamps. He worked so hard to get him back, just lost his forward lift.
You can hear the stadium starting to ignite as Canada's Ian Miller comes through the clock tower, the ageless wonder from Perth, Ontario, who was a very important part of Team Canada winning the BMO Nations Cup at this year's Masters tournament. And now with Dixon, the 67-year-old looks to win his 3rd CP International. Now let's put this in context. Forget about the 10 Olympic Games starting back in Munich.
Okay.
He and Big Ben won this event in '87 and 1991. He was then second to Ludger Beerbaum and Gold Fever in 2002 in one of the surprise displays of my life with Aftershock.
Wow.
And now with Dixon, Ian Miller rides this 11-year-old. And can he continue his great week thus far at Spruce Meadows? You know he's been studying. But this horse does not have the speed, so he's got to jump a clear round. Or post a time fault, I guess, right now.
Well, I mean, you say Ian, you know, Miller will have been studying. I mean, he leaves nothing to chance in that regard. What a great performance in the BMO Nations Cup. In a very unfamiliar position as the lead-off, but you have to keep Mark Laskin. He wanted a very positive score out there for his young riders to follow, and Miller delivered, and he's delivering at this point. He's giving Dixon a great ride.
Of course, a year ago on this very day, it was in the second round when he lost his eyeglasses and could not continue. That's all been rectified through the miracles of modern medicine.
That was an interesting ride. It looked like Dixon was shaving off to the left all the way down there. Ended up jumping the right side of the fence.
But it set the corner up for the turn back very
really
well.
Did
it again there.
He's got one to go, Ian. This is a great ride.
Ian Miller of Canada defies the odds and posts a clear round to join that man, Eric Lamaze, in round number 2. Much to the delight of the more than 80,000 people who are at Spruce Meadows today enjoying the Masters. My goodness.
The ageless one, as you keep calling him. I mean, what a performance. That's the kind of studying he does. He walks that course, walks that line, and in his mind, he's thinking of that all the way along.
Ian Miller and Dixon continue their storybook weekend at the Masters tournament. But he knows there's a lot of work ahead. He'll enjoy the moment and prepare himself for round number 2. She made it to the medal podium a year ago at the Masters tournament. Terrific rider from France, Penelope Le Pravot. And this lovely bay mare is just a spectacular Grand Prix horse.
Oh, it's a great combination, one of truly the world's best. Generally considered the world's most stylish rider, I think, is the general feeling with Penelope. Hard to argue. She sits so nicely, her horses are so well balanced. So smooth over the jump. See how easily she gets Nyana back. A strong mare.
Always carrying the forward pace. Lovely balance. This is a strong horse.
Ooh, another one with a triple bar in.
Another of the world's best has the triple bar.
You gotta think that that is starting to create issues because of the difficulty with the triple combination. Now maybe the riders, they're just taking a little bit of a chance at it through the corner.
Growing concern amongst the world's best. Is there another clear round to be had here to advance to the second round of the CP International? It will not be from Penelope Le Pravot. And what a quick trip, 79 and change around this course. She'd love that triple bar back.
Yeah, well, she's stuck in there at the bottom end of the top 12. She's got herself on the dance floor for now. Looked like Nyana maybe just cut through the turn a little bit. Only a couple to go.
There's 3 to go, and what a trio they are. Former world number 1 Kevin Stott, the hottest in the world Kent Farrington, and the Olympic champion, silver medalist from a year ago.
Wow.
Steve Gerdat and the great mare Nasa. Those are the final 3 with a chance to advance to the second round here at Spruce Meadows. Gerdat will lead things off with the 13-year-old mare who really thrives in this international ring. There's some arenas where she's not quite on top of her game, but she likes the big going out here.
And there's some other horses that go the other way. They jump very well around the world. They come through the clock tower and they wilt. NASA is not one of them. You heard Steve Gaudet say right off the top how well she's performed in this ring and on this day.
Steve Gaudet, winner of the Rolex Grand Prix in Geneva, so still in play in the 2 out of 3 scenario in the Rolex Grand Slam. Interesting this year that the Swiss component was won by a Swiss rider, the German element was run by a German rider, and today both Ian Miller and Eric Lamaze are still in play for Canada, but that's a long way down the rails. Let's see what Gaudet can do for Switzerland right now.
Well, so far he's doing what he needs to do, clear round. Now, I think he really has to keep the rails up, Ian. It's going to sound self-explanatory, but NASA will not necessarily help you with the time allowed. She's not the fastest horse, so he's not going to get there with a quick 4 faults, I don't expect. And Steve won't be worrying about that. They're just starting to slip a little bit through that tight turn on the rollback. A few horses have done that now.
One obstacle left, that skinny red vertical is out of the way, and on his way to round number 2 is Steve Gaudet, the Olympic champion from Switzerland. I'm sure satisfied, but not a smile just yet. He was close last year.
Yeah, exactly, and he knows how quickly everything can change. But a great ride. The Swiss component is through to round number 2.
And what a great day the Swiss are having. That is the 3rd Swiss rider to advance to the 2nd round of the CP International. And it was just recently that Nadja Peter-Steiner fell off the leaderboard, or the entire Swiss team would have been moving on to round number 2. And it's been a long time since a Swiss victory here. Heidi Robiani, would you believe, with Jessica?
I would
1984.
believe that.
Great combination. 2 left. And talk about great combinations. No one has been as hot as Kent Farrington and Voyeur in 2014, rocketing up the FEI World Rankings. Wins on both sides of the Atlantic and looking to score another major Grand Prix victory at Spruce Meadows this year to add to his Queen Elizabeth II Cup title and the Rolex Pan American Grand Prix of earlier this summer. What a year.
Well, what a year, Ian, and certainly a great year for Voyeur. This is a horse that's really come along in leaps and bounds in the 12 months previous. It just seems like yesterday he was a horse with promise, and now he's become Kent's go-to on the biggest day. That says an awful lot. And you've got a horse like Useko that you can push out and keep on the bench. He has been so close this year to having a season for the ages. You think of the triple bar down in the jump off, he would have won the first CSI 5-star Grand Prix at Spruce Meadows this year. Fastest time in Aachen in the jump off by 4 seconds.
With the last fence down.
With the last fence down, my goodness me. I mean, we could be arguably talking about the greatest season in the history of this sport, but anyway, enough of that. He's got to produce today. And so far, so good.
Two obstacles left.
Oh!
The lightest of rubs at the penultimate fence on course, and with it 4 faults. Heartbreak for Kent Farrington, disbelief to the crowd and to my colleague.
Whoa, disbelief, yeah, I don't even think he touched it. That's unlucky. That is unlucky.
As a $500,000 crashes to the ground.
Barely touched it, and his time, Ian, is not going to be quick enough to crack that top 12. Wow.
Surprises happen when the stakes are high. Former world #1 Kevin Stott of France now the final horse to go in the first round. 48 horse rider combinations qualified to start the day today. The best in the world, competing for $1.5 million, and the last man with a chance to make the second round is Kevin Stott of France.
And if he makes it in, it's going to be at the expense of Penelope, his teammate. Really galloping hard. I like to see that approach. Very aggressive. Now, can he get her back? Yes. Super ride there. Now you can relax a little bit. Just get reorganized. Oh, he came down.
Swings the Canada plank, something we haven't seen much today.
I think that's the first time we've seen it come down.
At another portion of the Leopoldo Palacios first round course having taken its toll.
9A bouncing out of the cups as well. He got awfully lucky. He's going to have to keep scooting along here. Penelope was quick, very efficient. Nice tight turn there after the Impressionism jump.
She was 79.17 seconds. He's got one obstacle left to go. It will be tight. Kevin Stott across the finish line.
Wow.
Oh, by the slimmest of margins. Good news for him. Bad news for Penelope Le Provost. She falls out of the top 12. My goodness me.
I was about to say, just take your time there. Canada planks haven't caused any issues. Maybe he took too much time and got too organized for the triple bar coming up. But 4 faults, but on to round 2 nonetheless for Kevin Stott.
One of 12 that have advanced to round number 2, and here's a look at how they have ranked coming forward. BZ Madden, the fastest clean. She'll come in last. There's a look at a pretty impressive group of scores. Then you get Robert Whitaker, the lone time fault, and Kevin Stott comes in with 4 jumping faults. He will be first back to the second round, a second round that includes great veterans and the rising stars of international show jumping when we return to Spruce Meadows. Welcome back to the Spruce Meadows Masters. Course inspection for round number 2 is underway, and down on course with those 12 riders is our John Garner.
Well, Ian, we're down on course getting serenaded by the band of the Welsh Guard, so excuse me if I'm shouting at you, I'm not really. What a first round. Great competition, like we thought, tough course. Surprised me, to be honest. 10 clear rounds in the first round, 1 with a time fault, Robert Whitaker. Kevin Stott gonna bleed it off with the only 4 fault to come back in that top 12. What are they faced with? It's the usual thing you're gonna see in round 2 of the CP International. It's big, the spreads are wide, the course is really tough, very technical right off the bat. We got 2 double combinations early, the double of Liverpool's and the abacus jump from the Beijing Olympics. But I think what you see behind me is going to play a real factor. We got a big wide triple bar. It stretches out at 1.90 m. 3 strides to the white planks now, the CP planks, and Leopoldo, the diabolical one. He's come up with the double of planks. It's very tight in there with 1 stride. The horses are going to land out big over the triple bar. They're going to get a strong gallop, and then the riders are going to have to really sit up. Watch for rails or planks coming down here. Good luck to them, I say. It's going to be a great afternoon.
Thank you, John. It already has been a great afternoon for the 12 that have advanced. Our defending champion, however, not so lucky, nor was former champion Leslie Howard. A nasty tumble in the triple combination aboard the young stallion Tic Tac. Fortunately, both she and Tic Tac walked out of the ring on their own accord. Reed Kessler has come so close in this event over the years. She's in with a shout. She posted the first clear of the day with her Olympic partner, Solana. Another really remarkable result today was that of Marie Etter with Admirable. Problems in the Nations Cup with the wall, no problems today. They're clear, and one of 3 Swiss to be into the second round. How about 2-time champion Eric Lamaze? No more Hickstead. Now it's Zagali. that's carrying his clear round dreams at the Masters tournament. Beasy, Madden, and Simon, as good as any combination in the sport right now. The former Rolex World Cup champions, winners 2 years ago here in the Atco Power Queen Elizabeth II Cup. One of 4 former champions of this event, including this man, young Olivier Philipparts of Belgium. He jumped clear with his great stallion. Then there's the Olympic champion Steve Gerdat, winner of the Rolex Grand Prix of Geneva this year. Second place a year ago in the CP International. He's hungry for victory at Spruce Meadows, and he is in play with Nassau. Ian Miller, the ageless Canadian veteran, 10-time Olympian, riding Dixon. What a surprise and an upset it would be for the great veteran should he jump to victory. Last time he did so was in 1991 with the great Big Ben. Here's a look at the 12 that have advanced in their order of go, carrying forward their time and faults from the first round of competition. Beasy Madden will be last into the ring. In the event of a jump-off, those tied equal first will come back over a jump-off course designed by Leopoldo Palacios. The course inspection is complete. The horses and riders are ready. John Garner has returned from field level, and we are about to get ready with the second round of the CP International. Only the top 12 have advanced, including former world #1 Kevin Stott of France, bringing forward 4 faults from the first round of competition. As you see him coming towards the historic Spruce Meadows clock tower to get things underway in the round of 12 in the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping.
This is where it starts to get real, Ian. I mean, it's the most exciting day in the calendar for me, the CP International Day, Sunday of the Masters.
Keith Creel, the Chief Operating Officer of the Canadian Pacific Railway, takes the Cavaliers' salute from each and every rider into the stadium, and the bell sounds for the great veteran from Team France. He's riding a 10-year-old mare, so quite young for this level of competition. There you see this spectacular stadium. Just a few days ago, covered and blanketed with 30 centimeters of snow. What a difference and what an effort put forward by Spruce Meadows to get things underway. Perfect conditions, I think you'd agree today.
Well, there's no question, Ian, and the riders 2A1 have been commenting about the conditions. Looks a little bit ugly down there on the west side, but I can assure you it will ride absolutely perfectly. So jump #1 is a nice Oxer. Jump #2, the Canadian Pacific Wall. 3 is, it's a deceiving wide Oxer, that one, the brown one.
Here's where it gets tough.
Hang left-handed here to the double of Liverpool's. The Oxer coming out, it's not so wide. That distance is always tight, and there comes down the first rail.
Pulls a rail for 4 faults to be added to the first round score. Kevin Stott sitting on 8 as he approaches the Dutch bicycle, a signature of the Spruce Meadows Championship collection. Here we have the triple bar into those 2 tricky verticals.
3 strides. So delicate, that plank on top, and a tight 1 stride. Roll around here, we get right now to the north end of the arena. The Rolex Oxer. And we start our way home. Dry ditch, and then this wide Athens Coins Oxer to finish off.
There you see the running time at 66.28 seconds for the great French veteran Kevin Stott.
Just caught that back rail. It's a wide Oxer right by the in gate, and again just a little bit of a tip of the toe from Estoy on the white planks.
2 round total of 12 faults for Kevin Stott of France. The Whitaker name is a Hall of Fame name in international show jumping. John Whitaker, Michael Whitaker, both champions of this event in years past, and now it's John's son Robert who's taken the only British entry to the second round here at the CP International as his Rolex Grand Slam hopes continue. Catwalk. This is a tough horse. Big scope, but a little bit difficult to ride, I would suggest.
Well, he's so sensitive, Ian, and Rob was telling me earlier in the week that he's really had high hopes for him, but he came in on the first day of competition and just mowed everything down. He couldn't get him focused. But this horse will jump the biggest fences you can put in front of him. It's just whether he'll stay on the job.
Carrying just one time fault from the first round, and we have seen a one fault effort win this in years past. Ooh, and there he cuts down that 5A.
It's deceivingly wide. The front part of that Beijing combination. Again, you can't discount the fact of how close to the in-gate it is. Horses can get distracted, especially one like Catwalk. Look how big he is over that triple bar.
The CP planks come down for a second rail on course with the final third of round 2 ahead, and there is a third for 12 jumping faults. These are costly rails in the second round.
They really are.
Keeps it at 12 jumping, but incurs a time fault for going over our time allowed in round number 2, so Robert Whitaker will not lay claim to the trophy.
There's an overhead look as we come down into the double of Liverpools. He jumped that well. Added the stride coming into 5A. Just couldn't quite get squared up there. Like you said, Ian, he cut down on the back rail.
The 45-second countdown clock has commenced for the next rider from France here in the CP International. Jérôme Aurel with Quartz Rouge. This is an impressive 10-year-old stallion. Just 8 up the first round course to advance here on a clear scorecard. The slowest of the clears, so we will be mindful of that as the time allowed in the second round is just 70 seconds. You must keep your motor running.
Remember, it's the time allowed that is going to separate ties on faults that get accumulated after the 2 rounds, so certainly an advantage to have a quicker time. Look how hard he tried there, out over 4B.
Lovely effort.
I love how Jérôme stays on the gallop, Ian. All the time he's got that pace, he's moving on to the next jump.
Now he has this big triple bar, then to package up into the very sensitive planks. Little stutter there.
Oh, he got by with it there, tapped it coming down. 3 jumps remaining.
Do we have our first double clear? No. Front legs take down the Rolex signature fence at the north end of the stadium. This crowd is riding every fence with each and every one of these riders. And just over the time allowed. That's a heartbreaker, and that could be very costly.
Yeah, it could well be. 5 faults total for Jérôme.
Currently leading.
Quartz Rouge. Let's have a look there. Just a little bit loose in front. Maybe took off a touch late.
That's where your first round time is so important. We continue with the CP International from the Spruce Meadows Masters with our next entry in round 2 of the $1.5 million Grand Prix presented by Rolex as we warm up the engines on Vaivou, the 11-year-old Dutch stallion ridden by Swiss rider Alain Jouffer. 3 Swiss into the top 12. First time that has ever happened. Let's see if they can finally lay claim to this coveted Grand Prix. It's been a while since Jessica carried Heidi Robiani to victory.
That is a while. Well, I tell you, these guys are in with a shout. This horse hasn't had a rail all week. 1 time fault in each of his 2 rounds in the Nations Cup. And arguably because he jumped too high. Fantastic effort through those 2 combinations.
Very athletic and careful stallion. Ooh, the Dutch bicycle comes down, and with it 4 faults. You can hear this crowd. They want to see a double clear.
He looked like he just thought about the corner maybe a little bit too early.
It's strong. Whoa! You just can't get that done.
Exactly, and you picked up on it right there. He was very strong coming in. You've got to get a gap to allow the horse to get down and fold his way back out over B.
He will be hard against the clock as he carries and brings down the final fence over the time allowed. So how quickly it can change from clear to 13 for the young Swiss rider.
Yeah, his back legs never lifted up out over the Dutch bicycle. Let's have a look here. He's weaving a little bit. And just lost his momentum there. Front legs knocking down B.
And they told him the second round would be tough, and now he believes. Let's move on down the order of go, and the horsepower coming into the international ring and the riders absolutely extraordinary. What about this fellow?
Reigning Olympic champion.
And in play for a Rolex Grand Slam bonus today, Steve Gurdat of Switzerland with the beautiful mare Nassau, who a year ago he wasn't so comfortable with. He ended up finishing second in this event, and now he's looking to win. He's looking to put the pressure on with the first double clear. And if anyone knows pressure, it's the reigning Olympic champion. This is Steve Gurdat.
Well, this horse has been a podium player on more than one occasion. Of course, Niels Brunseel's a former rider. He was right up there too. This horse loves this arena. Plenty of scope. Very brave.
Horses for courses. The international ring at Spruce Meadows, the size of 5 football fields. So there's plenty of room to maneuver these international show jumpers. And right now we have Nassau with Steve Gurdat on course.
And then you've been talking about the crowd, how they ride every fence with these athletes. There's no question the people in the stands, they have their favorites, but they pull for everybody.
Hard there, wasn't he?
You know, from the moment he landed, he'd made a decision of what he was going to do. I mean, he never really got there. I don't know whether he sensed something coming out of 4A and B.
There is such pressure in the second round here. Every rail is worth thousands and thousands of dollars, as there are now 2 down on course for the reigning Olympic champion, a man who today, with a victory, would have been about $750,000 ahead or more in the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping.
Incredible.
And over the time allowed, something I didn't expect. So 9 faults, the final score for our silver medalist from a year ago.
Well, just as importantly, Jerome Hurrell is still leading on 5 faults. Look at him fly down there. Nasser really never got the idea of what he wanted. 5 faults leads the way.
Reed Kessler avec Silana.
One of the great young stars of the sport next to go from the United States, Reed Kessler. She's been close before. She's won big events at Spruce Meadows. She's jumped at the Olympic Games. She's not yet 21 years of age, and she has a very capable partnership with Silana, the 12-year-old mare.
Well, just 2 years ago, she was right there, a clear round, and she would have won the Grand Prix. But unfortunately, 2 rails came down, and Olivier Philipparts with Cabrio ended up being the winner. She looks like she is on a mission today.
Watching this young rider come up through the ranks with the great Katie Prudhomme, now riding out of the Marcus Enning stable in Germany for the most part, but enjoying a North American homecoming for the Masters.
Great ride. See how when she got over the triple bar there in, she shut Solano down all the way, geared her back, gave her the chance. And she is flying. She's not going to get a time fault at all.
No, she's not. She attacked the course as she was taught to do. Let's see if she can clear the Oxer. She does. Listen to the crowd here at Spruce Meadows. Look, at the celebration of the youngster from Kentucky.
Solid performance. All the pressure in the world on her, and she can produce the clear round. Stuck to a plan.
The pressure is on the world now. The United States leads the way. Can the remaining entries in round 2 post a clear round to force a jump off? There's the smiling young woman from Kentucky, eager to know if she'll be back in the international ring again today.
Smiling now, Ian, but the nerves are going to start because the rest of the world are coming after her. Now they know what they got to do.
Preemptively, she will learn the jump-off course. There is a look at the standings. The United States with the only double clear to date as we reach the halfway point of the $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex.
Thanks. Raj says.
From Switzerland, Marie Etter aboard Admirable into the ring. Vivacious young Swiss rider who is a little bit affected by the wow factor at the Spruce Meadows Masters. She had no idea how big it was going to be when she got here, in every sense.
Well, there's no question, Ian, and she was telling me not just herself, but her horses as well. One of her horses just absolutely refused to jump the first jump on the first day. Ended up getting 3 really good prizes later on in the week. Admirable, not been so different himself. He struggled earlier on, but starting to round into form.
And he is a fighter. This particular horse has been a project of Marie's, having been through the struggles of 2 colic surgeries in his career, and now here he is, having posted a clear round and looking to rise to the summit of international show jumping. Ooh, that was a good effort.
He is a big horse. Marie would not be the biggest gal out there. Another one with the back rail there. Catching a few of them.
Often there's that completely objective, analytical way of assessing horses and their talent. She bought this horse because she liked his eye.
There's something to that too, Ian. You just get a sense from him. And you can see it in her eyes too. When she talks about him, her eyes sparkle. And like she says, when he tries so hard all the time.
She can keep it to 4. She'll move into second place. She keeps it to 4 across the finish line, just under the time allowed. That's Swiss timing for you. 4 faults over 2 rounds for the young rider from Switzerland.
Let's have a look here. She choked him back. I think in the end just took his power away. She was getting to a distance that she didn't really like, so she had to throttle him back a little bit, and then he lost his impetus.
Ian Miller is a legend in international show jumping. 10 times to the Olympic Games, commencing with Munich in 1972. 2-time champion of this event. Gold medalist earlier in this week at Spruce Meadows in Nations Cup competition. And here he is again, looking to author another memorable chapter in his career. 67 years old. The George Blanda of show jumping. And he is underway, and he is a player. Look at the pace he's carrying early.
The thing is, Ian, I mean, you talk about him being 67, but nothing has changed about the way he approaches the job. Everything's always been the same. He rides with pace, he attacks the courses, and it's all about having the right horse. And style was very good for him. This maybe, and Dixon, the best horse he's had in a long time.
And he's such a student. He never feels he knows it all. He's the first to walk the course, the last off. A year ago, heartbreak in this event when his glasses came off. He's since had the laser surgery. Says it was a game changer. Let's see what happens here.
Oh, fantastic ride. He had a little bit of a lucky tap there at the bicycle jump. Got by with it. 2 jumps to go. This crowd will go absolutely mental if you can post a clear round.
To quote the great Al Michaels, we might have a miracle underway here. He got lucky there at the Athens Coins. Reed Kessler, you get to jump off against a legend in Ian Miller. Look at the crowd.
Wow, he gave that last jump a hefty rap, did he not? Bounced out of the cups. Let's have a look here. I mean, no one has ridden this double of Liverpools more than Ian Miller. He knows exactly how to get it done. Dixon a little bit dodgy there. Looks like he was maybe a bit unsure of what he was looking at. Got to tell you, Ian, I didn't see that coming.
I'm not sure Ian Miller saw that coming.
Fantastic.
Two have advanced to the jump off of the $1.5 million CP International as the Rolex Grand Slam continues. This combination has won here before. They are amongst the best of the rising stars in the sport. Olivier Philipparts of Belgium is underway aboard Cabrio, his great stallion, 12 years of age. 2 years ago, they jumped to victory on this day.
And that, of course, was the Grand Prix that Reed Kessler had the unfortunate 8 faults down.
Great effort in.
He looks on form. Horse was a little bit under the weather in the early part of the week. Olivier wasn't sure he'd make it for the weekend, but he jumped very well in the Nations Cup, 4 faults each round. And to be fair, just a little bit unlucky.
Well, and you talk about being under the weather. For our viewers,
got by with that.
Unless you could see it to believe it, 30 centimeters of snow on this international ring 4 days ago, and there's a rail down, and that is costly. He was looking so sharp.
Just lost his way a little bit in, I think, coming out of that turn.
And he's going to pick up a time fault
as
too.
well.
Total of 5 for the powerhouse entry from Belgium, Olivier Philipparts, Cabrio.
Yeah, so he just lost his way a little bit around that corner, then didn't get his distance. Got far too deep to the Rolex Oxer. Utter disappointment on the young fella's face.
There will be no return to the winner's circle for young Olivier Philipparts. I'll look down on the international ring at Spruce Meadows. A huge crowd on hand. Some 89,000 people in change on the grounds right now, and two-time champion and Olympic champion Eric Lamaze of Canada coming through the clock tower, and this place will go nuts. He's aboard Zagali, his newest international mount, 10 years of age.
Well, interestingly, Ian, I had a look at the course earlier with Eric, and his assessment of the track the whole day was that there would be no jump off today. He didn't think he thought the course was just far too hard to get more than one double clear. Well, he's been proved to be wrong on that, so you just wonder how that affects his assessment of it. You know, does it free his mind up, saying, okay, we've got 2 already, we know it's jumpable. He's on a horse that's already won a major Grand Prix this year in Zagali.
Champions in Rome. You know what's interesting? Eric believes the second round of the CP International is the biggest jumping in the world, and he includes the Olympic Games, the World Championships, and he would not come into this event with a horse that he felt was ill prepared, which speaks volumes for how he believes in this beautiful black horse, Zagali.
Well, clear round obviously in the first round and jumped very, very nicely. He's a well-balanced animal. He's a lovely model. And he's got that nice gallop stride for this ring. Covers the ground well.
Things can change quickly on this course. You must bring your undivided attention to each obstacle and then be thinking forward. It's all related. 4 faults.
Oh, I just look like he stuck maybe off the ground a little bit. Stuttered. A little tap there at B. You want to keep it to 4 faults if at all possible.
He's not listening to you, John. There's a second rail for 8 faults. He better go to the throttle here. No. And a time fault for 9. So from clear to 9, that's how quickly things change. There's a look at the two that will do battle in the jump off. What a storyline unfolding here at Spruce Meadows. There's the 2-time champion departing the ring. There'll be no gold medal today in this Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping event.
He just dropped his toes there a little bit at A, so I think he maybe just stuttered off the ground a little. The time fault I was a bit surprised at, to be honest.
Turn our attention to Ireland. The Irish have been a little snake bitten at this year's Masters tournament, but both of us are big fans of this rider and this young stallion, Golden Hawk. 9-year-old Belgium warm blood, Shane Breen in the irons for Ireland.
Huge fan of Shane Breen. I think he's a wonderful jockey and probably even a nicer person. He sits so nice on his horses. His horses are always so polite. They go in a similar way. He likes this round gallop. Look how well they sit in the hand. It makes it so much easier to pick your spot and get to the jump. And then it allows you to let the horse use its natural ability.
The challenge they all have is a clear round is required now if the dream is going to continue. Ian Miller and Reed Kessler of the United States, both in the clubhouse on double clears, getting ready to jump off, and they will not be joined by Shane Breen.
They didn't get quite squared away there in coming into the combination there, the double of Liverpools. Maybe Golden Hawk peaked a little bit. I think it had more to do with the line and the bicycle coming down for the first time.
Nine years of age, this horse is showing maturity beyond those years, having troubles with the planks. So now we're into protection mode.
Well, you don't want to keep falling down the order of go, or the lineup, I suppose. The money is very, very good, but it drops off very quickly. Each place you drop down.
And he dropped a few rails and he went a little slowly, and he ends up with 13 faults, does Golden Hawk with Shane Breen of Ireland.
Well, he's dropped a number of places, coming in second and picking up 13 faults. But that's what happens in this competition. Things can change in a hurry.
Spectacular first round, fast and clean, earning a great start position in round 2, but things didn't sort out. Fan favorite here at Spruce Meadows from the United States, one of the all-time greats, Beezy Madden, riding just a spectacular horse in Simon. Beezy Madden coming off a terrible collarbone break earlier this year, and now 2 medals at the World Equestrian Games. I think she is in championship form. She certainly showed it in the first round, clean and fast, and we know this horse can get the job done.
This is a championship horse, of course. Simon has won this competition before with now the reigning world champion, Jeroen Dubbeldam, in the saddle. He has a funny way about him with his back legs. It always worries me a touch. His back end gets up, but it's like he cramps his back legs behind him. It worries me sometimes. He's not actually going to cover them, but he seems to get it done. It's his own style. Boy, did he ever fling himself over that.
Beezy Madden, very efficient and quiet rider. Tries not to get in the way of her horses, but she is so subtle in her communication with them. Coming in hard to the triple bar. A little stutter
he
there.
Stuttered there, didn't he?
Oof.
Dodged a little bit on landing there, Ian.
That is a costly error, much to the relief of Ian Miller and Reed Kessler.
No question.
Who will not be facing her in the jump off.
This is the one person you don't want coming in behind you right at the end.
So Beezy Madden finishes up. Whoa, and there's another surprise.
Wow.
That's a rarity.
Well, he's cramped a little bit behind again, but I think that was caused by his stutter off the ground.
Former Rolex World Cup champions Simon and Beezy Madden out of the running today at Spruce Meadows. They will watch from the clock tower as we continue with the jump off from the Spruce Meadows Masters right after this. A spectacular and dramatic setting in the foothills of the Canadian Rockies as we prepare for the jump-off in the $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex. We had 47 horse rider combinations from around the world start the day. Now there are 2, and they are getting ready to jump off. It's a North American showdown, John. What a storyline. The youngster, Reed Kessler from the United States, against the timeless wonder, Ian Miller of Canada, 67 years of age.
Yeah, but Ian, what other sport would give you that? I mean, would be able to throw that equation out at you and for you not to be completely caught by surprise? I mean, I will tell you, I'm a little surprised that that Miller is back with a chance of winning it. It looked like maybe that opportunity had gone, but I mean, you can't take it away from the fella. He comes in every single time with his preparation intact and with a plan.
Well, it took him till his 9th Olympic Games to win a medal. He's won this event on 2 occasions with the mighty Big Ben, and there is a look at a rising superstar in this sport. She's been second before. She's won all over the world. Young American Reed Kessler comes through the clock tower to take on an all-new jump-off course. Tell us what she's going to face.
Well, like you say, it's a new series of jumps. We're going to start off with the 1 and 2 from the second round, as we've just seen him, the CP Oxer, the train jump, the wall, then on to 4AB, the double of Liverpool's, then a sharp left-hand turn, new jump. Well, it's actually originally from the first course, but the Tower Bridge over the Liverpool, you can just see it right there in the corner. And then we gallop around the triple bar from round 2. Rolex upright, new jump, and then finish on another new obstacle, a CP Oxer to fit.
In the event of equality of faults, time will break the tie. This will be the richest 5 minutes in the history of international show jumping, and Reed Kessler opens strong. She's going to take on this course and force Miller to catch her. This mare is naturally fast.
She is quick, Ian, and Reed is a very quick rider, but it strikes me right now she's doing what she has to do. Really professional job. She's leaving the jumps up. She's not going all guns blazing at this point. Like you say, Solana is a quick horse. Reed likes to be aggressive. A little conservative there. I thought she might come a little bit tighter around to 14. And the patient ride coming home. You want to make sure you leave it up, and she's done that.
She's had a perfect day at the Spruce Meadows Masters when it matters most, and all she can do is wait now.
You know, just want to draw your attention to something. Look at her reaction. She's happy, but nowhere near as thrilled as she was with the double clear round.
She knows.
She knows, right? The job is not over yet, and Ian Miller coming in behind her. Boy, now, having said that, the pressure is on the veteran now.
Well, this man can handle pressure, and so he must. He's got the weight of a nation on his back and a capacity crowd here at Spruce Meadows, and he is aboard Dixon. This horse is a very different model than that of Big Ben or Reed Kessler, who we just saw. Here we go. $1.5 million on the line. He's clucking hard. Oh, good cut into number 2.
Great turn. Great turn. Very aggressive 1 to 2. Already quicker. He's way quicker across the middle of the field there. It's a long gallop. In. Oh, you got a little bit of a rub there on B.
This sport is about balancing speed and power. He's over the Liverpool. He cut it to the right.
He's shaving all the corners right now in. He's a little bit wide there. Took the right side as opposed to the left side.
Don't lose your motor, Miller.
That's a nice turn. Now he's got to keep going. Leave it up.
He's tugging. He's over. Is he fast enough?
He's done it. He's done it.
Ian Miller of Canada wins the CP International nearly 2 seconds faster. Disbelief in the youthful face. Celebration on the timeless one.
Would you believe it?
No, I would not. This is an historic day by any standard in any sport. 10-time Olympian Ian Miller continues his legend. And look at this crowd. Look at them. Wow.
What a story. What an incredible day of sport. They've loved him for a long time. There's a lot of the younger riders, younger people in the stands that they know the legend of Ian Miller, but they've never really been able to see it. It's been a while. Well, there you go, kids.
And you can see the young riders who have such respect for him. He makes them earn it every day against him, and today none was better. My goodness me. Extraordinary.
Well, let's just spare a thought just for a moment for Reed Kessler. 3 clear rounds in the CP International, and it doesn't bag you a win. That is tough, but that is the nature of sport. Eric Lamar's there going in to celebrate with the captain.
His Team Canada teammates who less than 24 hours ago jumped to gold in the Nations Cup with the Americans finishing in the silver position. And here comes the entourage.
It might be a while getting him to the ring.
I can assure you, as competitive as Ian Miller is, he did not envision this today.
No, I think you're probably right there, Ian. I mean, an absolutely outstanding performance.
A memorable performance, a where were you moment in the sport of international show jumping when this man, Ian Miller, rode this 11-year-old gelding to his first major victory ever in the sport. And what a win it is. The $1.5 million CP International presented by Rolex. One for the ages, certainly one of the greats of all time.
But you should not underestimate what this man goes through. I mean, we talk about it week after week during our tournament coverage about how prepared Ian Miller is. And he is. I mean, he comes in with a plan, he executes. Sometimes the jumps stay up, sometimes they don't. What an incredible day of show jumping from the 2014 Spruce Meadows Masters. The CP International, presented by Rolex, lived up to its reputation. 47 horse rider combinations started out the day, all with the idea of stepping into the winner's circle to claim the $500,000 first prize and start their way down the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping path. What lay in their way? 2 courses designed by Leopoldo Palacios, and out of the original 47, 12 would make it through to the second round. 10 clear rounds, 1 with a time fault and 1 4 fault. A couple of surprises along the way. Christian Allman, coming off a great victory in Aachen, did not make it. He had 4 faults and was a little bit too slow. Another surprise, Kent Farrington from United States, just missed out on the Grand Prix victory in Aachen. He too had 4 faults and surprisingly also too slow. The top 12 that made it through, however, they had a challenge on their hands. Leopoldo Palacios, he did turn the screws with an incredible course set out. And after all was said and done, from the top 12, 2 were left standing. Reed Kessler from the United States and Ian Miller, Captain Canada, both managed double clear rounds, and they would go at it all over again. Reed Kessler led off with a wonderful mare, Solana. But in the end, it was the ageless wonder, Ian Miller, 67 years old, triple clear round, and the winner. What a performance. Let's have a look at the final leaderboard. There's confirmation. Ian Miller sitting on top. Reed Kessler, silver medal again. And Marie Etta, what a performance, in the bronze. A fantastic day of sport, wonderful atmosphere. And here is the champion with Ian Allison.
Ladies and gentlemen, does it get any better than that? Please welcome to the winner's circle, Canada's Ian Miller, champion again of the CP International in a storybook ending at Spruce Meadows. I've seen a lot of these with you, Mr. Miller. How does this rate?
This rate's right up there. The last time I won this was when?
Last century.
Yeah, last century, when a lot of these people weren't even born. So it's great to come back and win it on a horse that's actually related to the Great Big Bend.
It's great to see you in the victory circle against the best in the world. What drama? What were you asked, and what did Dixon deliver today?
Well, he was fantastic. He kept getting better in each round, and that's in any of these championship competitions like the CP International. You need your horse to build to the occasion, and that's exactly what he did. I wasn't on empty going into that jump off at all. I had all the horse I needed, and it was the luck of the draw, too. Had Miss Kessler been behind me, goodness knows what she might have done, but I had the advantage of following her and seeing exactly what she did and know where to take a stride out and turn a little sharper and just do what we do.
Strategy and precision pay off, and Keith Creel, you know all about that. You had the best seats in the house today. The CP International goes into the history books as one of the best ever events at Spruce Meadows. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. We're just tickled to death. I couldn't think of a better ending. Our first year associated at CP with the Masters, with Mr. Miller, although in a previous life we've been associated before. But certainly outstanding ride, outstanding ambassador for show jumping for Canada and for Canadian Pacific. You showed a tremendous amount of heart today.
Yes, he did, ladies and gentlemen, and now his day is about to get a whole lot better. Mr. Creel.
My honor and pleasure on behalf of all the employees at Canadian Pacific to present you with a check for $500,000. Congratulations.
$500,000, ladies and gentlemen.
I thank you very much, CP International. This will buy some serious hay and oats.
Lift it up there, Ian, before we get to the trophy. That's the first 15 years competing here in one afternoon. And now I'll take it back, and as you haven't done for a while, invite you to step forward with Keith Creel and hoist this trophy, symbolic of supremacy in international show jumping. Ian Miller and Dixon, the CP International. With his victory, Ian Miller and Dixon advance in the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping. Next stop, Geneva. Ian Miller and Christian Allman of Germany in play in the Rolex Grand Slam.